This is why Tucker Carlson is the best thing going on cable news. Watch him own a liberal reporter for 10 minutes straight. New York Times journalist gets owned for 10 minutes straight. His attempted ambush interview backfired quickly. You can't get one over on Tucker Carlson. Come on now. Watch.
Tucker, wow, nice closet.
And Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm glad you agreed to join us.
Someone just texted me and said you were pretty tough with Taylor Lorenz, which I was heartened to hear, but it's easy to hurt her feelings. So I hope you'll check your privilege.
I'm just hoping you'll let me ask questions and not steamroll me, because you're a professional and I'm not.
Well, you're the tough one, Ben.
But I have been watching your show a lot, and you spend a lot of time laughing about labels that are thrown at you. Racist, white supremacist, the most host of the most racist show in the history of cable television. Actually, I'd rather not ask you about the labels, but sort of give you an opportunity to talk about what you believe. And to begin with, do you believe white people are superior to other races?
No, of course not. And the funny thing is, that's one of those.
Let me just stop on the yes/no question there, and just to put it a little differently before you respond, which is,
actually, if I could just answer your question.
Do you think that white people have more of a claim on America?
I don't think white people are inherently superior in any way.
Do you think that white people have some claim on America that people of other races don't?
Of course not. I mean, first of all, I'm a Christian, so I think God made everybody, and therefore everyone has equal value in his eyes. That's the essential value of every person is the same. But the idea that I harbor some sort of deep racial animus is like, I think there are a lot of criticisms you could level at me. I think sometimes I overstate the case, I get pissed, I can be very nasty. You've been on the receiving end of that. I know you can vouch for that. But the idea that if you were to look at my texts or listen to my personal conversations or read my mind, you would find no instance where I'm like, I'm mad at black people. 100% of the people that I'm mad at are well-educated white liberals. In my mind, the sort of archetype of the person I don't like is like a 38-year-old female white lawyer with a barren personal life. That's who yells at me on airplanes. And so I always say to people like, you're racist.
Okay, let me
Actually, I'm not mad at black people. Like, what are you talking about?
Let me show you, I think, why people react this way. I think we have a clip I just wanted to show you. Sydney, can you play that?
In political terms, this policy is called the Great Replacement, the replacement of legacy Americans with more obedient people from faraway countries.
So Tucker, what's a legacy American?
People who were born here, black people, white people, Hispanic people, Asian people, people who are citizens, people who participated, generationally in our system. And a lot of them don't buy the program of the modern Democratic Party because it doesn't serve them. And so the center of the Democratic electoral strategy going forward, I'm not guessing, they talk about it constantly, you're a journalist, you must have noticed, is to bring in new people who will vote for them. Now
let me just finish
if you don't mind. This is not something that I made up or found on the internet. I don't even really go on the internet. This is something that Democrats, including, the architect of Obama's last victory, have talked about at great lengths in pieces, monographs, on television. They've written books about it. So this is not like some crackpot Alex Jones.
Do you think when you talk about
this is the central strategy of the Democratic Party? So to be like, I can't believe you said that. I'm putting the back to that.
You talked about generational investment. How many generations makes you a legacy American?
I'm just saying people who live here now, including immigrants.
Do you have any empathy for somebody who sees that clip, somebody who's whose parents are from India, from China, who are Jewish, and say, wow, I don't think, I just see that clip, and I don't really think this guy includes me in his vision of America?
Slow down. Okay. No, I don't have any, as you said, empathy for people.
Do you understand why they might think that?
Please let me, if you don't mind, if I could finish. I have no empathy for people who derive their judgments about anything from 30-second clips on Media Matters. I do an hour live every single night. If you want to know what I think, I don't know that there's anyone who's more transparent about it than I am. Not all of my views are correct. Not all of them are attractive. You may laugh at some of them, you may be offended by others, but I'm very clear about what I think. I believe that people are not the sum total of their genetics. I say that constantly, and as a Christian, I really mean it. I actually buy the kind of Dr. Seuss, please, version of race understanding, which is judge a person by what he does, not by how he looks. I actually believe that. I grew up in Southern California in the 70s, and I say it constantly.
You do, but yet somehow, Tucker, and I guess the thing, you have an hour every night, as you said. Let me, and I want to move on to some other questions.
Okay, but, don't filibuster me.
You are misunderstood, perhaps, in your view a lot. Then, both by, as you said, kind of the New York Times, but also you keep having sort of explicit white supremacists who have, on secret message boards who work for you, and you have to. I know this has been very painful for you in some cases.
I've never even met a white supremacist.
You have these folks. You have folks who have posted. You have a large number of people. Scott Greer, Blake Neff. I'm just curious why you've been sort of flypaper for these people on your staff.
You're not asking me a question.
That was the question. Why have you been flypaper for these racists?
Deep breath. I've never had a white supremacist work for me. I don't think I've ever talked to a white supremacist. Please let me finish.
And I don't want to fight about labels.
Hold on, slow down. I'm not sure what that means. I know that it's a slur. It's the worst thing one can be. I don't really understand the terms, but let me just say.
You've had to let people go who said objectionable stuff.
Slow down, Ben. I believe that people are not defined by their race, any race, black, white, Asian, pick a race. People are defined, their value derives from A, the fact they were created by God. I believe that, maybe you don't, I do. And B, by what they do, by the choices they make, by who they are. They have agency. They're not, part of some larger group, they're individuals. I believe in the individual, and I say that virtually every night. Now, if you don't hear that, or if you, for whatever reason, want to claim that I'm some racist, I don't know what to say to you. I'm stating my sincere views as reflected in my personal life and my professional life as clearly as I can.
Do you feel that in your own career you've been kind of discriminated against as a white Protestant?
No.
And I ask in part because I had been told that Roger Ailes, and that you'd sort of at some point expressed that Roger Ailes, the former head of Fox, had a preference for Irish Catholics, and that it kind of held you back. Was that?
I've been held back. And by the way, I can say this sincerely, if I could, that I've never in my life been unhappy except because of self-pity. Self-pity is, I'm speaking for myself, but I think it's true for most people. Self-pity is the root of misery. And so I really try not to feel self-pity. I have no grounds for it anyway. I've had a wonderful life. I have an unusually happy family. I live where I want. I say what I want. I'm blessed, unlike a lot of journalists who are leading miserable lives. But I don't feel sorry for myself. I don't feel I've been discriminated against. But I do believe in fairness, and I don't think you should ever hire someone on the basis of his race or sex. That's grotesque to me. It's a violation of the basic promise of the country, which is we're going to bring people from around the world who may look different, be from different backgrounds, but we're going to treat them all the same, which is to say specifically on the basis of their ability and their virtue, on the choices they make, not on the genes they have. That's Nazi shit. I'm against that. I'm serious.
Let me ask you about a different subject, which is January 6th. And I think...
Well, no, I kind of like this stuff. You're not responding to me.
No, I'm not responding to you. I'm interviewing you.
Does that sound racist to you? You've just suggested I'm a white supremacist.
I found that clip disturbing. I think the language of replacement theory, which you've popularized, the language of replacement theory is like specifically the language used by neo-Nazis to recruit people to their cause. It has been, obviously, I'm not suggesting some straight line between words and actions, but it is the phrase that has been used by mass shooters. I wonder if you don't have any compunction or regret about popularizing that?
This is why you are considered correctly a propagandist and not a journalist, because I just explained in detail, with total sincerity, what I believe. You ignored it and invoked mass shooters. So that's not what you just did. I
asked you how you felt about it. I actually do want to ask you about something. I'd like to ask about something that actually I think we probably have more common ground on.
How ridiculous you are, and I think it's evident to any fair person watching.
I guess I'm trying to give you an opportunity to respond to things that have been said and written about you. But let's move to something that I'm really not looking to have a
Does this sound like a racist ideology? And you're like, oh, I'm disturbed by the Media Matters clip for 8 seconds. Like,
The
are you being serious?
So why